Okay, all right, let's begin. All right, well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural session of the Foundations of Learning and Teaching at Charles Sturt program. So my name is Kelly Jackson, and I am thrilled to see so many of you here today. You are the very first cohort to undertake this program, and we couldn't be more excited to support you in your professional development here at Charles Sturt University. I am also really excited that this group of participants represents staff from across all three faculties and over 15 different schools across the university as well as all academic levels. So there really is a wonderful diversity of knowledge and experience in this room. And I'm really hoping that we can leverage that to foster a really collaborative learning environment. The aim of this program is to provide you with the tools, resources, and support that you need to excel in your roles. So we are here to guide you, to answer your questions, and to learn alongside you. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your commitment to your personal and professional growth. So first, I want to get started with some introductions. I'd like to introduce the team that's going to be supporting you on this journey. And I'm also going to try and stop saying the word journey so much, but hold on to your hats for that one. And I'm going to do that by starting with myself. So I am Kelly Jackson, as I've said. I'm a lecturer in the academic development team as part of the Teaching Academy. I have been with CSU specifically for 13 years now, but I've been in adult learning and adult education for my entire career. I started at CSU in a student-facing role in a school, and over my time here, I've been lucky enough to work within two different faculties, and for the last 8 years in the centralised division of learning and teaching. So if you are new to CSU, a lot of the words that I just said there may not make sense, but I promise you that when you're done with the program, you are going to know exactly who we are and exactly how we can support you in your profession and across your career here at Charles Sturt. So I am based in Canberra, which might also be a bit of a surprise to many of you that we do have a footprint here. But if anyone else is, anywhere near Ngunnawal country, feel free to pop on into my office and have a coffee, have a chat. Always happy to chat. So please feel free to contact me with any queries you have at any time. I am now going to pass you on to my wonderful colleague, Wendy, to introduce herself.
Hello everyone, it's lovely to see so many of you here. My name is Wendy Evans and I'm part of the admin team for the Division of Learning and Teaching. I'm coming into my 18th year in this division, so I feel, very old. So I will support Kelly in the admin side of the Foundations program, and I do monitor our mailbox, so I will probably most times be the first one to respond to an email, and if I can't help in the first instance, then I'll get in contact with Kel and we'll provide you with hopefully the right answers.
Thanks, Wendy. Deb?
Hi everyone, thanks Kel, thanks Wendy. My name is Deborah Shield. I'm a colleague of Kelly's and I'm also lucky enough to work at the Canberra campus here in Ngunnawal country. Just beautiful. We're in for a hot one, but I suspect you all are today. I have been in higher ed for close to 20 years, not all at CSU, but certainly the last, I think it's 7 or 8 years at CSU, and the Division of Learning and Teaching is just such a wonderful place for me to have found myself, because I get to deal with many academics in many different ones. And Kelly's noted that diversity, some of you I know it's day 2, but others will have been in higher education for a long time. So that diversity, that getting to meet you, I'm so looking forward to doing that. In this instance, I'll be looking at the peer review side of the FOLT program, the Foundations of Learning and Teaching, and also as a learning coach. So that will be the part I play in this particular one, but very much looking forward to meeting you and my tag team to Kashila.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kushila Kumar. I'm joining you from Biripi country in Port Macquarie. I am the Subdean Academic Development in the Division of Learning and Teaching and the Director of the Teaching Academy, which I always say is a fancy way of saying that our job is to work in partnership with wonderful academics like yourself, whether you're level A or level E, to just partner with you in your professional learning journey. Kel, I've borrowed one of your words, and that is what brings us to work every day. That's what we're passionate about as a team, and that's what we look forward to doing in this program and beyond. I am the new kid on the block in this team. I think it's only been a year and a half, maybe 2.5 years in this at Charles Sturt, but I come from Flinders University, where for over 10 years I was leading the postgraduate courses in clinical education, where essentially we were supporting health and social care professionals to really hone their skill set around learning and teaching, because they were practitioners, right? They'd never been formally taught how to supervise, give feedback, assess, evaluate, and even teach. It was something that it was see one, do one, teach one, right? So in the context of my course coordination and faculty development work, it was very much about partnering with these colleagues to really support them to understand how they could put that scholarly lens, that educational lens onto their everyday work, and to really do that in a way that was meaningful to them, but also very responsive of the expertise that they bring to the table, as you do. So I see you guys as experts in your context and your content, and your students. You kind of know your discipline, you know your profession, and we're going to partner with you and bring that educational lens, that scholarly lens. And when those two things meet, that's where the magic happens. So that's what we do as a team, and that's what we try to do as a team, and that's what we'll be doing in the context of the Foundations program, is to really partner with you and support you to kind of put that scholarly and educative lens on your practice. So welcome. It's fantastic to see so many of you here, and I am also a peer reviewer and a learning coach for this program, so no doubt I will have much more targeted, focused conversations with a lot of you here in this meeting as well. Thank you, Kel.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, well, let's get back to a little bit of a program overview. So whilst this is a probationary requirement for you, the program is actually designed to really support you at various stages of your teaching journey. So again, whether you are new to academic teaching or an experienced educator looking to deepen your expertise, let me give you a quick overview of the program, and then I'll kind of dive a little deeper into each of the individual components of it. So I am just going to share my screen. Can I just get a little bit of a thumbs up if you can see that? Perfect, thank you. Okay, so you can expect to dedicate 30 hours of time to the FALT program, and here are some key features of the program and what you'll be engaging with as part of that 30 hours. So, learning coach sessions. You will have 2 one-on-one sessions with experienced members of the Teaching Academy to discuss your goals and receive some personalised guidance about that. There's an online content component, so that part of the program includes 20 hours of engaging online modules, supported by interactive workshops and activities that enhance your understanding and application of the material. There is a portfolio submission, so you are required to submit a portfolio of evidence demonstrating how you meet the program's learning outcomes. The portfolio is designed to be flexible, allowing you to showcase your understanding in ways that suit your strengths and at your appropriate level. Please note, this portfolio is not formal summative assessment. It is not marked, it is not graded. It serves as a platform for you to showcase your capabilities against the learning outcomes and to start a meaningful discussion on how we can support your ongoing development and success. So there is a personalized feedback process that happens with this and your learning coach at the end of the program. And of course, as part of that portfolio, as Deb said, you will undertake a peer review of your teaching practice, which will provide you with really valuable insight and feedback to help you improve your practice and effectiveness. We have a wonderful community of peer reviewers with a wealth of experience and knowledge that you will be paired with. And it's a great opportunity for you to critically reflect on your own practice. And Deb is going to go into more depth about this process a little bit later. Okay. So the program is underpinned by the Teaching Capability Framework. This ensures a structured and evidence-based approach to developing your teaching skills. So the program itself focuses on 6 of the 11 capabilities that are a part of the Teaching Capabilities Framework that align more with teaching and learning. However, if it is more suitable for your role and your development needs, you are welcome to focus on other capabilities. And again, this is the sort of thing that you can discuss with your learning coach. So I'll let you read that. They're the 6 teaching capabilities that this program itself sort of focuses on. So look, that is a really broad overview, but let's unpack that now and start with the learning coach sessions. As part of this program, we have embedded several opportunities for you to meet with a very experienced Teaching Academy staff member who will help guide you through the program and support you to make some decisions about appropriate development needs and career goals. So I'm happy to inform you that myself, Deborah, and Kushila will be those very experienced Teaching Academy staff members. Next week, you will be given some further information about who you'll be partnered with on your journey and how to start that process. So the idea is that whilst you do have this really amazing, diverse group of colleagues to share ideas and experiences with, you also get a much more personalised experience alongside that is really tailored to your specific development needs. What I would encourage you to do prior to these conversations starting is have a look at the Teaching Capabilities Framework. And again, we will send you all of this information out. And especially the 6 capabilities that this program focuses on. Reflect on which ones are most appropriate for you and at your level. Maybe see if there are others that you feel are more appropriate for you. Also, consider what your development goals are. And look, that could just be for this year, for those of you who are in your second day on the job. It might be just enough to want to get through the year and feel a lot more capable and confident in your role. That's perfectly fine. For others, you might be looking at more mid or longer term goals, and you might want to focus on a 3 to 5 year plan. Again, perfectly fine. These are the sorts of conversations that you'll be having with your learning coach. Access to the content will be given in March, and we are going to take care of your enrolment in that. So there is nothing else for you to do there. And by we, of course, I mean the wonderful Wendy. As I said, you can expect to devote about 20 hours of time on this content. So the content has been designed in a way to successfully support you to complete your portfolio. Each topic has been crafted to build your skills in an area that specifically meets the learning outcomes. And I will just let you have a mull over those. So throughout the program, you will find practical examples, interactive activities, comprehensive resources that directly align with these module learning outcomes. Our goal is to provide you with a clear understanding of the material and the confidence to apply it effectively. We encourage you to engage fully with the content, participate in the discussions and activities, and take advantage of all the support that's available to you. The content includes both foundational level information that is relevant for everyone, as well as extension content for those of you that have a lot of experience already and might prefer to engage at that level. So the program itself has been designed as a little bit of a choose your own adventure. If you are new to academia and you're new to CSU, you can engage with the foundation content, and that will more than support you to develop your portfolio. And look, there might be some interesting content that you might bookmark as something that you can look at in 6 to 12 months when you have a little bit more capacity to do so. For those of you who are working more at a course or a faculty level, there is some content in there that is more focused in that space as well, and that includes some of the more contemporary issues in higher ed at the moment, like Gen AI and program level assessment. Okay, so if we have a quick look at those learning outcomes now, I'm sure you've all managed to have a little read of those. So I won't go over them again. But to support you to be able to show evidence that you meet those learning outcomes, the program covers several key topics, including the Charles Sturt student. So you can spend some time here exploring the CSU ecosystem, get to know the environment that you work in, and develop your understanding of exactly who the Charles Sturt student is, and more specifically, your cohort of students. The second topic, developing your professional practice, will provide you with effective teaching strategies and student-centered and inclusive approaches to learning. And the final topic, developing your assessment practice, builds on that knowledge of who your students are and how you can most effectively teach them, and focuses on designing and implementing and refining assessments so that they are authentic, engaging, and effective. Again, throughout the program, you'll have access to a range of learning materials that includes videos, readings, activities, opportunities for peer interaction. We will also hold some online meetings to guide your learning and provide more opportunities to discuss the content. And there are also lots of events and workshops happening through the Teaching Academy and within the university that your learning coach will be able to discuss with you. So these events are also going to help support your development of your portfolio as well. Outside of this, I encourage you, somebody mentioned it, to join up for either on-campus coffee conversations. Many of you here are in the same schools, so potentially a little school community if you think that might help. We encourage any peer interactions for good teaching practice. So we're committed to providing you with the tools, resources, and support that you need to excel in your roles, and we do really hope that this program does that. I am a little scared to open it up. I'm going to stop sharing, but I am going to open it up for questions at this point and hope that I haven't just kind of said a lot of word salad. How are we all feeling now? Any immediate questions? Feel free to also put things in the chat if you don't want to answer that, or if as we're sort of talking, you want to put something down and we can answer it later, that's fine too. Everyone's sort of feeling okay at the moment. Oh yeah, or online coffee catch-ups if people are remote. That's a fabulous idea, Joe. No, Sarah, it's not a pass-fail either. It's not graded, it's not marked. As we said, it is the start of a conversation on how we can further support your development.
Is the portfolio meant to be a physical one or a digital one?
Digital. Yeah, so the program itself is done through the Brightspace LMS, and so everything will be, all the content will be in there. Your assessments will be submitted through that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is very true. In fact, we are just about to move on to an overview of the portfolios from Kashila. So I will let her do that. But just very quickly, access to the Brightspace in March, as we said before, we will enroll you. We'll take care of that.
Wonderful, Kel. I'm just going to share my screen. And I want to put this on. Oh, okay. Can you still see all my slides? Oops. Right. Kel, can you see my slides?
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, sorry,
I was thumbs upping, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I can't see you. So you guys are on a screen somewhere else. My computer, let me just bring you across. Yeah, that's great. All right, so I will, I've only got a few slides. I will probably just present them and then we can have some questions at the end, I think, when you get the broader context. So as I said before, everyone, it's fantastic to be here. It is fantastic to be part of your journey and sort of partner with you around professional learning. My name is Kashila, and I take, it's a great privilege and a pleasure, I guess, working in this team and to support academics in this way. I just want to provide a little bit of a macro context, and then I'll talk about some parts of the program in more detail. So the macro context really is around what is the Charles Sturt Teaching Academy. And I encourage you to visit our website and have a look around. It is an institutional community of practice in learning and teaching, which is inclusive of professional and academic staff from across all faculties, schools, and other areas of the university. So we are very diverse, I guess. And at the moment, our online community, which functions through our Teams channel, is, I think there's about 348 members. So I would encourage you to have a look on our website and also consider joining us on our Teams channel and be part of our online community. So because the community is you, right? It's inclusive of academic staff and professional staff and anyone involved in the university mission in learning and teaching. We are a small team, myself, Deborah, Kel, and our colleague Lachlan, who I'm not sure if is on the call today, and of course, amazing administrative support from Wendy Evans in the DLT admin team. And we support professional learning at the university in a number of ways, and I've listed some of the ways in which we do that on the slide, but you can see we pretty much, if there's any professional learning going on, we typically tend to be involved in that. So one of the things that we will be doing in the next week is to announce some of the professional development events we'll be running through the Teaching Academy. We are partnering with some schools and faculties around some bespoke professional development activities. So we might see you at a school-based or faculty-based forum in the near future. We support the annual Learning Teaching Conference, which is called CSEDx. We support teaching awards and fellowships, and really anything that sets our educators up for career development and advancement. So awards, grants, fellowships, those all come under the Teaching Academy. So an open invitation from me to consider joining our Teams channel. It's a place where we share information, where we celebrate and acknowledge, and we keep you posted of things that are happening within the university, but also beyond. So do join us, and I look forward to seeing you online in that space as well. I wanted to quickly mention the Teaching Capabilities Framework. It is got 12 capabilities in there, which are mapped from levels A through to E. And the main thing I want you to understand is that these capabilities extend beyond direct teaching. So the ones circled in blue are very much focused on sort of direct teaching and learning, but you can see the ones circled in red extend beyond direct learning and teaching. So it covers things like peer review, mentorship, leadership, scholarship in education, and reward and recognition. So the Teaching Capabilities Framework, what it does, it gives us a way to think about kind of what is the holistic profile of an academic in higher education, right? And it tells us here are 12 things that we should be doing as academics in this space. So I find this framework a really great kind of reflective tool. Just as Kelly mentioned, use this to guide your own self-reflection, both for this program, but also as part of the annual performance cycle. So we're in the midst of the, planning for the year. Use this framework to guide your thinking around what you want to look at and achieve during the year. Use this to guide your conversations with your supervisor as you plan for your new role in the first 12 months. So this can guide self-reflection, staff supervisor discussions, goal setting, and professional development planning. And I think it's important we realize that, we are not expecting staff to do all of this. So it's really important to say, for 2025, I'm going to pick a couple of areas that I'm going to really focus on and use as the focus of my professional development. So again, once this meeting finishes, we'll send you some information, and it will have a link to the Teaching Capabilities Frameworks, but please go have a look at it and familiarize yourself with that tool. It's a fantastic thing to engage with at the start of your time at Charles Sturt. Of course, I recognize some of you have been around for a while longer, but at any point in time, it's a really useful framework to look back at and reflect on your teaching role and kind of your career goals for yourself. So let's deep dive into what the portfolio is. The portfolio is obviously a key part of the Foundations program, and we really wanted to create a way for you to really engage in things that make sense to you and are responsive to your needs and your the areas that you want to focus on. So we've done that by creating this portfolio. And so the portfolio, as Kelly has mentioned, is not marked, it's not assessed, it is formative in the sense that it is there to guide reflection and learning. And the focus of the portfolio is feedback. So it is where you kind of demonstrate and celebrate and acknowledge, I guess, your professional practice and or the outcomes of an inquiry that you might have undertaken into learning and teaching, and talk about how that piece of work has helped you to achieve all of the program learning outcomes. Now, Kelly shared those 4 program learning outcomes earlier in her presentation, and you will have 3 opportunities to do that. So the first opportunity is through what we're calling kind of a reflective account of your professional practice. In this area, you can choose to either look at an area of professional practice, teaching and learning that you want to focus on and kind of put a spotlight on and talk about. Or you might be saying, I have a question or an inquiry that I'm really keen to pursue. So for example, for someone, I don't know, let's say in psychology might be saying, I really want to investigate, the use of a certain authentic assessment in my context. So that's a line of inquiry rather than necessarily a focus or a showcase of professional practice. So this portfolio item requires you then to undertake that inquiry and tell us about what you did, how you went about it, what you found, and what this might mean for the future. Then the portfolio item 2 is a peer review of practice, and Deborah will talk a little bit more about this. So we really are going to pair you up not just with a learning coach in this program. We're going to also pair you up with an experienced peer reviewer who will work alongside you to have a look at 2 of those capabilities outlined in the teaching capabilities framework. And then the final portfolio item is an action plan. Because, we want to not just reflect on what we have done and what we are doing, but we also want to really end this program by looking ahead into the future. So that's that future gazing part where you say, right, what might I do for my next 12 months at Charles Sturt? How am I going to use the scholarly activity allocation hours, for example, in workload to pursue an area of professional learning that is meaningful for me, for my students, for my context, for my subject? So all components of the portfolio need to speak to the program learning outcomes, but each item itself, you can map it to at least 2 of the program learning outcomes, and we will guide you in our learning coach conversations on how to go about this. So please don't feel that today you have to be across all of this. The purpose of having that first learning coach conversation is very much to talk this out with you, right? So this is just a very brief snapshot of what we'll cover in the program. And then finally, I think I just want to say this again, and Kelly's already said this, the portfolio is responsive to you and what you want to focus on and how you want to present the outcomes of your learning. So you might wish to take a more traditional approach and give us a report, a written piece, but others might wish to present it as a narrated PowerPoint or a podcast or whatever, whatever way in which you want to express the outcomes of your learning. It is not summative or marked, but it is formative. So it is very much focused on learning and feedback. So when the team looks at your portfolios, what we will do is we will always think about, okay, so what is that stretch piece? What feedback can we give you to both validate what you've done, but also to help you understand if there are any areas for that stretch learning, and we will direct you to resources and so forth that might support you in that space. And then also with the portfolio, we actually want that to be presented to your learning coach at the second learning coach meeting. So it's not that you create this artifact and put it into Brightspace and it sort of goes off to us. We actually want to have that conversation with you about what you've put together in your portfolio and really engage in a dialogue around your professional learning at Charles Sturt, and to really to set you up for what you want to do next as a result of your experience within the Foundations program. This is a short program. It's 30 hours long. It's not much time, but we've tried to craft it in a way that we feel will add value to you. And one of the things that we've been talking about in the team all the time is that, we really want to connect you with other people. So the fact that you are connected to a learning coach, that you're going to be connected to a peer reviewer and you're connected to each other, we think, will set you up well to really navigate the learning and teaching ecosystem within Charles Sturt, and to understand, the diversity that we bring into this space. So that's all from me, everyone. So I will stop sharing and then I will hand over to Deborah, who'll talk about the peer review, and then I think we can take some questions once you understand the full context. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Kashila. I hear that you will open up for questioning, but there is one.
Oh, is there one? Sorry, I'm
in the chat.
coming back on. Yes.
That's okay. To say how many hours, days are dedicated to online learning, and how is this structured? How are these structured is what it says.
David, maybe? I'm not sure. Well, you decide. We're telling you you've got 6 months and 30 hours, and we want you to be able to kind of fit this learning around your day job, right? Around the business of teaching your students, of course coordination, subject coordination. So you can engage across that 6-month period in any which way you would like to. We're not kind of putting those structures into place for you, but what we will have are some synchronous opportunities like this. It might be online, there'll be some workshops. Those will be the ones that you need to kind of fit into your calendar, but otherwise the learning and the production of the portfolio is you guide that. You are the driver, you're the learner, you're the driver. So you're in the driver's seat and you kind of construct this experience in a way that fits around you. And of course, with advice from your supervisor and others about how you can fit this in within your workload.
And so
and I see.
Yeah, there's that 6-month thing seems to be getting people.
Yes.
It's a recommendation that we're saying that this can be done in 6 months. You all potentially have very differing probation requirements depending on your contract, whether you're permanent, all of those sorts of things. So again, we aren't here to dictate that necessarily. We're sort of saying this isn't necessarily something you might want to do over 2 years. We're recommending that you try and, get this done in 6 months. But ultimately, probation is something for you and your supervisor to negotiate. We're here to support you to meet your probationary requirements. It is just our recommendation that you try and sort of do this within a 6-month period.
So it was me that asked that question. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Kashila. So it's mostly self-directed learning, apart from some synchronous learning. How many hours of synchronous learning are we expected to kind of undertake?
Again, it's sort of up to you, because we've sort of said the whole program should be about 30 hours. That includes those learning coach conversations, the 20 hours of dedicated to the online modules, and your portfolio. You need to demonstrate through your portfolio of evidence that you can competently, meet the module learning outcomes. For those of you who are very experienced, you might already have a lot of that information. You may not need to dedicate as much time. Again, a lot of that is really up to you. Because it's run through Brightspace, I will be keeping in touch with you through, posts and announcements. I'll send you links. If there are upcoming workshops that are being run in the university, I'll recommend those for people. But again, so much of that is up to you to decide based on your development goals, based on your development needs, what you engage in, at what level you engage with those sorts of things.
And if you don't do any teaching, that's fine too. We can find another way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's what the learning coach conversations are for.
Great, thank
Yep.
you.
No
And
problem.
which is why I think, you know, sometimes these questions are very hard to answer because they're out of context and we're trying to fit a generic model to all of you unique people who are on this call. So by the time I speak with you, Ash or Katya or Gennaro even, my colleague from down the hall there, then we will really get into the nitty-gritty of what does this experience need to look like for you, right? It might be that it'll look very different, and so it's kind of tailored to you. But like I've said in the chat, when you think about the 2 learning coach conversations and potentially 3 synchronous touch points, we're looking at about 4.5 or 5 hours of the 30 hours being in environments like this where you need to turn up, you know, and talk to someone and talk to people. But really, apart from that, the 25 hours of that is really how you decide to use it and what you decide to focus on. So we don't want to we know that you are starting off in a new role, in a new university, potentially, and this is a kind of a critical point in time where there's so many new things in this ecosystem. So we've tried to create an experience that you can use to leverage and make the most of during this time. So if you're in a teaching support role, if you're, I don't know, if you're in the enabling team supporting student transition or retention, we can always find an inquiry or an area of practice that is meaningful to you that you can focus on in this portfolio. I hope that answers some of the questions. And I think the flexibility we have is your learning coach conversation is a one-on-one interaction. So again, you know, that's very flexible, so we can absolutely kind of cater for your needs as well, and make a time that fits us both.
Any other questions? So yes, the hours for writing the portfolio are included in that 30 hours total. Absolutely.
Now, what is the expectation for that? Because we've got 20 hours for modules. We've got 6 hours for the online kind of touch base synchronous learning. That leaves 4 hours for the portfolio. Is that for 4,500 words? That's not very much.
Some of that, though, will come under the online content.
Okay.
So
okay.
again, you'd be looking at dedicating part of that to developing
I
that
see,
portfolio.
I see what you're saying.
Through the online content, you'll be engaging. If you engage in the activities and things that we have as part of that, that'll go towards your portfolio. Yeah. No, so let's get this. The Graduate Certificate in Learning and Teaching in Higher Education is currently not available as a development opportunity for staff. So the university made a decision to rest that program at the moment, and we've developed the Foundations of Learning and Teaching as the probationary requirements for staff. So these programs are not linked. This does not step you into that at all. At the moment, the grad cert is not an available professional development opportunity for staff just because we are now focusing on this. We are very much hoping that at some point in the future, a revamped 2.0 grad cert will be back and it will be available for all staff, but at the moment that's not it. So this program has replaced EEL 522. So yes, that's right. So it's currently available for School of Policing staff because it's a part of the contract that we have with them. But yeah.
And our continuing students.
Yeah.
But as Kelly says, you know, we've got to kind of rest or retire one ball so that we can focus on foundations, which we're very excited about. But it gives us a little bit of time to think about what the grad cert really needs to do. And we think, there's opportunity there to really think about the 2.0 of the grad cert.
And for anyone wondering if this is, if it can lead for credit for that, at this stage, no, this is a non-accredited course. If it was accredited, we'd have to grade your assessments and things like that. And because it is for probationary requirements, we've made a decision not to do that because, again, we're not marking your capability, we're supporting your capability and development in this space. So at the moment, no, this is not an accredited course. And so no, there's sort of, it's not a stepping stone to say towards the grad cert or something like that. I think if there are no more questions, I think Deb and peer review, is that?
Very happy to step in with that. And
Thank you.
thank you for asking these questions. I think Sarah Gurr had asked one earlier. I was going to call that out, Sarah. I see you've asked it again. So maybe one last one before peer review.
Yeah, absolutely. So absolutely, yes, this the workload for this should be a part of your, and again, it's up to you and your supervisor to discuss whether it comes out of your teaching workload or your scholarly workload or your admin workload. That's your conversation to have, but yes, it does need to come under your workload. Absolutely. There's no expectation that you do this on top of your job.
So in terms of sorry, I'm glitching. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can,
in terms of
thanks,
the choose your own adventure element of it, is it sort of we have 30 hours allocated for workload, but anything we choose to do beyond that is on top of what we're already doing?
No, so the choose your own adventure can be part of it. It depends on whether you feel like you need foundational level content or you want to engage in more extension level content. So I would recommend for people who are brand new to academia, maybe a level A or a level B, sort of focus at that foundation level content so they get a real understanding of Charles Sturt, the ecosystem, good teaching and assessment practice here at CSU. For those who potentially have a wealth of experience already in academia, you might be looking at really just focusing on that extension content because you kind of already, bedded down good teaching and assessment practices. You potentially have done other courses at other universities around that as well. And so you already bring that foundational knowledge with you and you want to extend in that space and you want to stretch yourself. So no, it's sort of, 30 hours in total, 20 hours of the content, whatever that content looks like for you. And again, as part of your learning coach conversation, they can guide you as to what your development and career goals are and say, okay, if you already have some knowledge on this, you've already done some work in this space, maybe a quick little refresher on, the general stuff there. Have a look at the policies and frameworks at CSU because you may not know that aspect at least. But yeah, maybe move into the higher elements around assessment, things like that.
I was more meaning, thank you, that does actually help clarify some
Okay,
of that.
great.
But part of it was also, I had a question earlier in the chat about the differences between the two portfolio options, the showcasing your professional practice versus the inquiry, which inquiry is obviously a higher level of thinking anyway, so it involved more work. So I was thinking that would likely involve more hours of work than the other option.
Well, we're still looking at the 1,500 to 2,000 range in terms of your word count and things like that. So
I mean, more the investigation of doing the actual work for that. So that's what I was wondering if that factors into the workload as well, or if it's just the product that counts.
It's sort of just the product, but what we're trying to do is to get you to align that the work that you would already be doing as part of your 6-week goal setting or your probation goals anyway. They're calling it 6-week goal setting still, template A, or the staff. I forget what the new name for it is now, the staff report or something. But whatever, you've potentially already sat down with your supervisor and had a conversation about what your work is for the year. So if as part of that conversation, you're being asked to investigate, embedding interactive orals across your subject as an example, and this is something new for you, as part of the work that you're required to do anyway, you could then turn that into your inquiry-based assessment. So we would encourage you to try and really align those things, not necessarily say, not necessarily do something that's kind of outside of your workload. Not to say that you can't. If you genuinely just are like, this is something I'm interested and I'm willing to put in the time and the effort, no problem. But we would encourage you to really align it with your sort of your work requirements for the year. Does that help? So that you wouldn't necessarily be doing the extra work. It'd be part of your workload anyway.
That's helpful.
Sorry.
Thanks, Kelly.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you for answering those questions, Kashila and Kel. That leaves the easy part open for me because I have a peer review form or a template that you'll be looking at filling in. So from your workload point of view, I will share that with you. I wasn't going to, but I will share it with you so that you get to see it now. So it gives you a sense of the type of thing that you'll be putting in with your portfolio and how they all link together, because they do all link together. So this is the peer review of teaching for practice for probation. It talks about what will happen. Kashila's already indicated you'll select 2 teaching capabilities that align to what you want to do, to what you want to focus on. So the point of peer review, we do have a wonderful, warm peer review team here, and welcome to it. Thank you for joining us. It will, first of all, your peer review will be done by a Division of Learning and Teaching and learning expert. So it's not a disciplinary focused one. We do encourage you, as part of your probation or as part of good practice, to get as much disciplinary peer review as you can. This one is specifically a learning and teaching summative peer review of 2 of the capabilities. You will be paired up with one of us, one of the DLT. There's probably 6 or 7 of us here, so you'll be paired up and we'll work together to do the peer review. Any questions or anything, please come and see me, email me anytime. You're going to discuss your capabilities and consider your options. You will then reflect on your selected capabilities. Reflective practice in teaching, especially because we have a diverse range of people, is such an important time at any stage of your career. That reflective practice we've really built into this peer review. So you reflect on it and then you'll liaise and conduct it and you fill in the form. So I'm just going to briefly show you the form, and that should give you a fairly clear idea of what it is. So of course, you're going to have your name, your academic details. The focus of the review is teaching practice. We can talk to you what exactly that teaching practice is. Because it's for peer review, we've put the supervisor name and contact, because, it's for probation. Peer review, a summative peer review is going to be shared. We're very transparent. We like you to know exactly what's going to happen with your information. That'll be shared as required for probation. But then we get down here, you select one of those teaching capabilities that Kashila and Kel have shared with you. You choose one. Let's say we'll choose that one. Then you have a maximum of 500 words for reflection. So you're going to reflect on how you ensure an inclusive learning experience for all students, for example. Have a look at the criteria under that capability and think about, well, how do I can't tell you how many times we've had people say, Deb, I'm fabulous at that. That's my passion. That's what I do. And how wonderful that is. But once we get into it, sometimes other capabilities suit more. But from your development point of view, you're going to be thinking about, how do I do that? Oh, okay, that's how I do it. This is why it's important. How, the what, the how, the why, the what next. You can use that cycle as a reflective cycle, but you also link to supporting evidence. So you're then going to tell your peer reviewer, and this is true because, and this is how I do it. And again, this opens up a beautiful dialogic conversation between you and your peer reviewer to say, yeah, this is what I can provide. These are the kinds of things I can show. And then the reviewer makes a comment. So this is your part, the first 2, and the reviewer makes a comment. They're looking at your evidence you've provided, the discussions you've had. This will have a developmental focus rather than an evaluative focus at this stage. But yeah, we'll give feedback. And you do the same for number 2. And then the reviewer makes overall comments. That would be done in conjunction with you, and it will probably take the form of some kind of actions to do from this. And then you're done. So I'll stop sharing that and note, did you see why I think I got the easy part after that? Does that make sense? Yeah, I can see some smiles. Some of you are looking forward to that. For it, we do peer review for promotion at Charles Sturt as well. And why I bring that up to you now is because last year we did a survey and our peer reviewees, the people who were involved, had to choose 4 of the teaching capabilities, and they said it took them between, on average, 6 to 8 hours. You're doing 2. So we're expecting it will take less. I see a lot of the questions was about, well, how long is this going to take? It will also depend on the capability you choose and how that conversation goes with your peer review, because we want to celebrate your learning, but there's also going to be a little bit of tension. Many of you are coming in as disciplinary experts, but not teaching focused. So there will be a little bit of, and when I say tension, I mean it in a good way, creative tension, transformational learning. When you're doing something different, when you're talking about something different, it transforms. There's that teaching tension there. So that will be part of it, but in a very good, very constructive way. So you can see I'm enthusiastic about peer review. I love it. Delighted to have the opportunity to work with you. I'll stop talking for a moment. I see there is a question there, and I'll have a quick look at the chat. Oh, yes, and keeping it contained in the larger scope. Kel and Kashila had the hard job. The other 2 will work. They will be contained. We just didn't have something to show you that, but it will work, this program. It'll be a lovely, I think it'll be a lovely learning experience for all of us, and for you especially. We'll fit in with what you need. No, I really will stop talking.
Okay, thanks, Deb. And any questions at all? We're all just kind of a little overwhelmed and wanting to go for a coffee at this point. So look, I've got one last little thing. So I am just going to very quickly share my screen. Okay, so this is just kind of our next steps from here. So we're almost done. Next steps, we are going to send you an email introducing you to your learning coach. So we'll do this probably very early next week. If you want someone specific, now that you've met us all, just know that I am open to bribes in the form of babysitting my children. So that's the penance. And as part of that email, we'll also link to the recording for this, and there'll be more information on the program in general. So keep a lookout for that. Wendy and I will work on that this week, and we'll make sure it sort of hits your inbox early next week. As part of that, please, the onus is a little bit on you to follow up with your learning coach and schedule that initial meeting. We are putting that onus on you. As I said, there's still a couple more weeks until sort of the online content is opened up. So that gives you a little bit of time to have that initial conversation, to have a little bit of time to, have a look at the teaching capabilities framework and have a bit of reflection on your development goals. Review that. Again, we'll send you the link to that in that email as well. And again, if you have already done your 6-week goal setting with your supervisor, that's perfect. Sort of use that as a starting point, because as we said, what we're really looking to do is align this program to your work responsibilities, where we're not looking for you to do things that are outside of that. So I guess probably that's the last thing that we've got to do today. I'll stop sharing at the moment, because I think if there's anything that I probably want you to take away from this session in general, is that we are here to support you to meet your probation requirements and your ongoing development, and really set you up for a successful career here at Charles Sturt, okay? And also, as a reminder, the portfolio is not formally assessed. But I'm just going to finish with that. And it is the first time this is being done. So you are guinea pigs in a way. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it certainly means that we're probably going to do a lot more hand holding than we may have otherwise done, just to make sure that we get this program right. We are always open to feedback, so please get in touch if you need anything, or if you just have questions, or you really aren't sure, or you're having a small panic, or you're lost in Canberra somewhere, and Deb and I can maybe help you get around those roundabouts, any of that. The only other thing I will say is that I've had a few little emails back and forward with people that maybe haven't yet actually enrolled in the program. There is, if you haven't done that, I don't know, Wendy, if you're still here, if you can very quickly grab the form. So even if you're aware of this program and you've come to this session, that's fabulous, but we do just need you to enroll if you can, just so we have all your details so that you continue to get the information about this program. So if you haven't already done that, please do. And if you've already got an email from us, then you know you are actually enrolled in this program. But any final questions before I let you go and potentially sob quietly in a corner? I'm not sure how we're all feeling at this point. I see. Okay, thanks, James. Got a thumbs up down the corner there.
Yeah. My only reflection, I'm 250 hours overload as it is, so I'm mindful. I'm just keen to get on with it because I've got too much to do as already. So it's rock and roll.
Yep, great. Anything? No? All right. Everyone's shaking their head. Okay, but look, if in 5 minutes time when you walk away from here, you think, oh, that was what I was going to ask, shoot us an email. Here to answer any questions, and just keep a lookout for the next bit of information. Lovely to meet you all. Thank you so much for coming. There was a huge number of you here, and I'm really grateful that you set aside the time. So thanks so much, guys. See you later.